Hi guys, it's Barry Joyce again, and in this video I'm going to give you some tips on how to pass a CSCS test in 2024. Now I'm going to take a simulated test. I'm not guaranteed to get all answers correctly. However, I will be going through them and show you the answers at the end and giving some keywords that will help you in your test. So once you register for your test and you sign in, you'll click next and you'll be taken to that screen there, and this is exactly the screen you'll see on your actual test, where it'll say smart there. It'll have your name. There are 50 questions in total. You have to pass 45 out of 50 to get that. So once you've done that, you click next. Now what I really severely recommend that you do is read the questions and read the answers. Now, a lot of people automatically assume that these type of questions are all common sense. I do agree with that to about I would say about 90% questions would be common sense, but everybody's common sense is differently. So take your time, read the questions, fully read them, fully understand them. That's my biggest tip that I can give you. Anything, it's all about understanding the jargon. Now, to understand the jargon, I've got some other videos that explains the different jargon within inside of the construction industry, which you may want to look up into, and the description of that will be, the link for that will be in the description down below. So here again, you've got 45 minutes. Underneath there, you've got your number of questions, 1 to 50 here. It's a flag for review. And you get your questions. Now again, use this like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. There's always at least a silly answer, maybe 2 silly answers within inside of your test. Some answers will require more than 2 answers, more than 1 answer, sorry, but it's about reading those answers. So here we go.
What is the main objective of carrying out an accident investigation? To help track the cost of insurance claims. To place blame, to find the cause and prevent reoccurrence, to identify the people involved.
Well, yeah, a bit of a common sense one this, but yeah, anything that's going to prevent things is going to be the answer for your tests.
Why is it important to wash your hands after handling lead or lead-based paint before eating or smoking? It can transfer to your mouth and make your breath smell bad. It can transfer to your mouth and taste bad. It can transfer to your mouth and is toxic. It can transfer to your mouth and can be addictive.
Okay, so with lead, again, it's a solvent, it's a hazardous substance. Look at that one. It's definitely not, going to make your breath smell bad. So with it being a toxic substance, it can transfer to your mouth and it is toxic. So there is another question as well on respiratory protection. Again, lead-based paint by sanding down old paintwork would be the answer for that one as well. So in this scenario, it is C.
Which of the following is a recognised control measure when reversing a vehicle? Turning on all the vehicle lights. Turning the site radio off. Using a vehicle marshal. Standing on the back to direct it.
Okay, so reversing a vehicle. Now that jargon that I was talking about before, the vehicles that may come up as moving plant or cranes or dumper trucks. In this case, it's just come up with the vehicle, regardless whether it's a dumper truck or moving plant, you have to have a vehicle marshaller. So in this case, I'm going with C.
What does it mean when a building has been issued with listed status? It should not be entered as it is hazardous. Permission is needed to make any changes. The council must pay for the project. An entrance fee must be charged to visitors.
Okay, with listed buildings, they are historical buildings and permission is needed to make any change.
What should you do if you see this label on a container or packaging? Dispose of the substance or contents by burning. Find out how to use the substance safely as it is flammable. Find out how to use the substance safely, as it could explode. Warm up the contents first with heat or a naked flame.
Okay, various different signs. In this case, we've got a red and white triangle with a picogram in the middle, which is indicating that it is a fire. So it's got to be, find out what the substance, how to use the substance safely as it is flammable. So I'm going with answer B.
Breathing in dust while using a cutting disc to cut through concrete could result in which of the following diseases? Leptospirosis, silicosis, legionnaires, asbestosis.
Okay, so dust, that's coming from brick dust or concrete dust, is actually known as silicosis or silica dust. It'll either come up silicosis or silica dust. Leprosy, of course, is a skin disorder. Legionnaires is water, and asbestosis, it's a hazardous substance caused through asbestos. So the answer is B.
Fatigue could affect work rates of a worker. What does this mean? They will work consistently as there are no issues. They will work more slowly as they will feel tired. They will be able to work faster as they will have lots of energy. They will work at the same rate but will need monitoring.
Okay, so fatigue, in this scenario, fatigue, it just means you're going to be tired, you're lethargic, you've got no energy, so it's going to be making you work slower and feeling tired.
To help protect outdoor workers from the risk of skin cancer from sun exposure, what should be worn? A small amount of deodorant and vest tops, extra moisturiser on the face and short-sleeved shirts, low-factor tanning oil and short-sleeved shirts, high-factor sunscreen and long-sleeved clothing.
Some questions, I'm not going to insult intelligence, of course, it is D.
Which of the following is an effective way to avoid causing harm to protected species? Avoiding breeding season. Only working at night. Using manually operated machinery. Take them to the site office.
Okay, protected species do end up sometimes on site, so the best effective way is to try and avoid breeding season.
If you are working on a flat roof, what is the best way to stop yourself from falling over the edge? Put a large warning sign at the edge of the roof. Protect the edge with a guardrail and a tow board. Ask someone to watch you and shout when you get too close to the edge. Use red and white tape to mark the edge.
Of course, working at height, you need to be safe at all times, whether it's working at height or any time. But what's going to stop you falling over the edge? You're going to put protective edge with guardrails and tow boards.
What is the most appropriate course of action if a worker finds material they think is asbestos? Pull it out and take it to landfill. Remove the material and bury it immediately. Tell other workers not to disturb it too much. Assume it is asbestos until a laboratory report is received.
Now, again, asbestos, very fine fibres, that's hard to identify, and when they're disturbed, little particles go into the air and we breathe them in, so it's inhalation. It will cause occupational lung cancer in the long run. Now, in order to identify asbestos, it has to be taken to a lab first and foremost, right? So you always assume things are asbestos, or assume things are dangerous, or assume things are unsafe until somebody competent or a laboratory has reported it and confirmed as asbestos. Never touch it. So it's going to be answer D.
Which one of the following should a worker do if a mobile elevating work platform, MEWP, does not allow safe access to the place of work? Use a step ladder on the platform. Inform a supervisor that a larger MEWP is needed. Put pallets on the working platform. Stand on the guardrails.
Now, mobile elevator work platforms, commonly known as cherry pickers. So anything that is going to be that says inform your supervisor, it's always going to be the answer. Now, there are questions where it'll say, can you inform your supervisor or the contractor supervisor? Always your supervisor.
Why is it the employer's legal responsibility to discuss matters of health and safety with employees? So that employees will never have to attend any other health and safety training. So that employees are informed of things that will protect their health and safety. So that your employer will not have any legal responsibility for employees' health and safety. So that employees do not have any responsibilities for health and safety.
So the employer's legal responsibility under the Health and Safety at Work Act, of course, it's going to be so employees are informed of things that will protect them.
Which one of the following statements is true? People experiencing mental health problems tend to be violent or dangerous. Mental health problems are rare among construction workers. Mental health problems are common and can happen to anyone. Learning difficulties and mental health problems are the same.
Now, this is a great example question of where people do trip up and lose certain marks when they start switching off during the test. This one here saying which is true. Some questions will ask which is not true. So it's making sure, this is why I recommend you read questions out. Well, of course, mental health problems are common and it can happen to anybody.
Personal protective equipment, PPE, should be worn at work for what reason? It prevents workers from getting their uniforms dirty. It prevents any exposure to hazardous chemicals. To protect workers from physical injury or ill health. To protect the company against potential lawsuits.
Well, a nice easy one. PPE or personal protective equipment, it protects you from injury and or ill health.
A truck has to tip materials into a trench. Who should give signals to the truck driver? Someone who knows the signals. Only the person who is trained and appointed for the job. Someone who is standing in the trench. Any person who is wearing a high-vis coat.
Okay, in all circumstances, if any of these type of words come up in your answer, pick it. Things like trained, authorised, appointed, competent, all those type of words, pick them. You might get all of the words in together, but sometimes they're breaking up. So anything that says authorised, trained, competent, appointed, pick it.
What must be checked before working in a corridor that is a fire escape route? If the doors into the corridor are locked. That fire escape signs are removed before the work starts. If the tools being used are spark-proof. That any tools and equipment do not block the route.
Okay, as you be fully aware, escape routes have to be clear and unobstructive, so it's going to be equipment do not block the routeway.
Why is it dangerous to run an abrasive wheel faster than its recommended maximum speed? The wheel will get clogged and stop. The wheel could shatter into many pieces. The safety guard cannot be used. The motor could burst into flames.
Okay, so we don't run them on maximum speed because the wheel could shatter into many pieces. Some people may think the motor could burst into flames. That's a possibility, but the pieces could shatter into many pieces.
Who is the best person to control the movement of vehicles on site? The first aider, a vehicle marshaller, the site manager, the company director.
Vehicles, vehicle marshaller, nice and easy.
Where should vehicles be loaded and unloaded? On uneven ground, on a downward slope, on an upward slope, on level ground.
Nice and common sense one.
Why are battery-powered tools preferred over 110-volt tools in a construction environment? They are quieter. They are cheaper to run. They are safer. They are more powerful.
Okay, so battery powered tools. Now what it's saying here is 110 volts. Now the recommended voltage on site is 110. You can use 230, however if you do you must use RCD, which is a residual current device, which cuts the electric off in an emergency, and we use 110s because it's less likely to kill you. So if we're using battery operated tools rather than the voltage, it's going to be they are safer.
If a power tool being used on site needs refueling several times a day, where should the fuel be stored? Close to the tool, in the designated fuel store, outside the perimeter of the site, in a site vehicle.
Okay, so fuel that needs to be used. Any wording again that says designated, look, we said anything that's designated, appointed, competent, authorised, it's going to be there because it's there for a reason. So it's got designated, it's there for a reason.
Employers must provide workers with instructions that meet which requirement? In a format each worker understands. Available in audio. Downloadable from the internet. Written in large print.
So we must print it off or provide it, in the format each worker understands.
What does it mean if you have to twist or turn your body when you lift and place a load? You must wear a back brace in this situation. The weight you can lift safely will be more than usual. The weight you can lift safely will be less than usual. You will be able to lift the same weight as usual.
Okay, for manual and handling one then. So if you have to turn your body, there's a few questions on this. So if you have to turn your body or if you have to lift up above your head, it is actually the weight you can lift will be less than usual. There's also a question about a back brace as well. So if you wear a back brace, you actually still run the same risk of injury when not using one.
A work task results in cables from power tools running across a walkway. What action should be taken? While working, look out for anyone approaching to warn them. Think about cancelling the job because it is too dangerous. Consider using cordless tools or running the cables at high level. Put up signs that the fire escape is out of order temporarily.
Yeah, nice sensible one. Cordless tools, there's going to be no wires or running the cables at a higher level so people don't trip up.
Which of the following two factors should be considered first when conducting a risk assessment? The financial impact of the assessment. Potential negative publicity associated with incidents. Name and address of the workers. The likelihood of the hazard occurring. The seriousness of harm that could occur.
Okay, so risk assessments are there for identifying hazards and risks within the workplace. So sometimes you will get a few of these questions on your test. Now, the best way I would recommend you doing this is just have a look at them. Once you've read them out, what you have to do is drag them across. So I'm looking at the word hazard, look, because risk assessments is all to do with hazards and causing harm. So I'm going to drag those across. Now, if you have a look at the three that's left, when you look at them, the financial impact of an assessment, it's definitely not. Potential negativity, no. And the names, addresses of workers. Them two are look like the more likely of answers. So that is a good way of eliminating.
When signallers are used, who should they be in contact with at all times? The site manager, the machine operator, their supervisor. Pedestrians.
So signallers, so vehicle signallers are doing it for vehicles, so it's going to be the machine operator. Now, this one here, so it's where it's got supervisor and manager. Now, you will come across a lot of questions that will have those words in there. Approximately about, I'd say 8-9% of the time, it will be site manager or the supervisor. But in certain circumstances, common sense ones, like this one here, it's not going to be site manager or site supervisor.
If your respiratory protective equipment RPE is a bad fit, which one of the following is most likely to happen? It will filter more air. It will not protect you. It will break easily. It will get damaged.
Nice and straightforward. It ain't going to protect you. Simple.
What are the 2 most important reasons why waste should be segregated on site? The waste will take up less room in a skip, so the client can check what is being thrown away, to make sure the labourer has enough work to do. It is generally more cost-effective to dispose of segregated waste, so the wastes can be used or recycled more easily.
So when it comes to waste, it's all about the environment, saving energy, saving fuel, recycling, stopping things going to landfill. Okay, so that's why we segregate all of the things. And of course we segregate different materials as well, hazardous substances. So anything to do with that. So it's generally cost effective. So I'm going to drag that one across, look, and then recycle more easy. Now when you have a look at the answers we've got left, yeah, silly answers, aren't there? So them are the common sense answers, so I'm sticking with that.
Being satisfied with your job can lead to what? Feeling less happy at work. Feeling more stressed at work. Feeling unpopular at work. Feeling less stressed at work.
So again, you know, some people could trip up on these, but being satisfied, so you've been happy at your work, can lead to what? So if you're being satisfied, you're going to be less stressed, aren't you?
How many people are allowed on a ladder at the same time? 3 people. A maximum of 2 people. Only 1 person. 1 person on each section of an extension ladder.
Straightforward, working at heights, 1 person only. You can actually work on ladders on construction sites. There are questions on how long can you work on them. It's for short periods of time, up to 30 minutes. If you do use a ladder, you have to extend it 1 metre above the extension point of where the ladder is going to be going to the top. And you also, the best way to secure it is to tie it off at the top.
Which of these is the most accurate way to confirm the exact location of buried services? Architect drawings, survey drawings, trial holes, cable plans.
Now, buried services is your gas, water and electric pipes that go underneath. So the buried, the underneath. And the best way to, that most accurate way, to do that is through what's called trial holes. They are little trenches. Not architect and surveyor drawings, because the ground moves underneath.
If someone is injured at work, who should record it in the accident book? The company contract manager. Someone from the Health and Safety Executive, HSE. The injured person or someone acting for them. The first aider identified on site.
Now, bit of a tricky one if you've never seen these before, because a lot of people automatically assume it's the first aider. This one, it's actually the injured person or someone acting for them, which is normally the first aider. But if you can, the injured person should fill it in.
What type of work is most likely to result in fatigue? Quiet and interesting. Exciting and enjoyable. New and challenging. Repetitive and monotonous.
So again, fatigue, so it's tired. What's going to get you tired? It's going to do repetitive work and monotonous, boring work.
What does a permit to work authorise? Tasks to be carried out safely under strictly controlled conditions. Untrained people to operate certain tools without supervision. Health and Safety Executive, HSE inspectors to visit the site without warning. The emergency services to come onto the site after an accident.
So work permits for highly dangerous works, in particular like hot works permits and working in confined spaces, permit enters. It actually allows you to carry out work safely under strictly controlled conditions via your method statement and risk assessment.
At what intervals should fall arrest equipment be inspected? Monthly. Every time. Annually. Every time after use.
Now, fall arrest equipment, it's all you're working at heights. You've got fall arrest equipment, fall prevention. Okay, I would recommend is checking. It is a bit of a tricky category working at heights, so I recommend that you check it out, the videos on working at heights and the categories that I've done on the series of these. But like everything, so everything you check, tools, everything should be done every time before you use them.
What 2 things should you do if there is an emergency situation on site? Go to the designated assembly point. Collect personal items from the site office. Leave the area via the nearest exit. Finish what you are doing. Look for other people who may not know what to do.
Okay, so emergency situation, you're going to go to the designated assembly point. It's always going to be that answer there. Leave at the nearest exit, look for people. I'm going to drag that one across. I'm just going to have a look again at them. You're not going to look for people. You're not going to finish what you're doing. You're not going to go for personal belongings. So I'm sticking with them answers there.
What do the initials HAVS stand for? Hand and ventilation system, heavy arm vibration system, hand arm vibration syndrome, heat and ventilation syndrome.
HAVS stands for hand-arm vibration syndrome, which is permanent damage to the fingertips where all the blood vessels are damaged. It's incurable, you can't cure it. Early signs of hand-arm vibration is tingling sensation, loss of sensation in your fingers, and your fingertips turning white.
What should you do if you see the side supports move when you are working in an excavation? Nothing. The sides are expected to move all the time. Work in another part of the excavation instead. Make sure that you and other workers get out quickly. Keep working and watch to see if they move again.
So again, like in all the other videos that we've done, explaining all the keywords, excavation is a hole. That's all it is. Excavator digs the hole. So if you're working inside of it, what should you do if the supports move inside of a hole? Yeah, nothing. No, I doubt it. Make sure you get out and others get out quickly. So of course you are.
If the first aid kit on site is empty, what should you do? Bring your own first aid supplies into work. Inform the person who looks after the first aid kit. Ignore the problem as it is always the same. Find out who is taking all the first aid supplies.
Yeah, nice simple one. You're going to inform the person or the first aider.
What is the outcome of wearing a back support belt when lifting? You can lift any load without being injured. You could face the same risk of injury. You will crush your backbone and damage it. You can safely lift more than usual.
Okay, mentioned that earlier on. You're going to face the same risk of injury.
What illness are you most likely to develop if you breathe in dust and fumes over long periods of time? Skin cancer, laryngitis, occupational lung disease, occupational dermatitis.
So dust and fumes, if you're breathing them in, respiratory system, of course, it's going to be lung disease.
Which of the following could ignite flammable vapours? Select 2 answers. Naked flame, oxygen, carbon dioxide, sparks, water.
Okay, so which of the following could ignite flammable vapours? So it's definitely got to be that one, hasn't it? Oxygen, no, that's part of your triangle. Carbon dioxide, no. Sparks, let's drag that across. Water, definitely not. So, yeah, them are the 2 obvious answers there, so I'm sticking with that.
Which of the following is the main cause of hand-arm vibration? avoiding using equipment that vibrates. Regular use of handheld tools and equipment that vibrate. Using a low vibration equipment for short periods of time. Taking part in training using vibrating equipment.
So again, hand-arm vibration syndrome, it's using heavy pneumatic drills or hammer drills or power drills. So it's going to be regular use of handheld tools and equipment that vibrate.
Which of the following tasks could place a worker at the greatest risk of lead poisoning if control measures were not put in place? Plastering a ceiling in a new build home. Building a wall out of old stone. Sanding down some old paintwork. Cutting timber in a roof construction.
I think I mentioned that one earlier on. Sure we did, but sanding down old paint work. So remember, lead-based paint. I think we had the lead transferred to the mouth. But yeah, that's the one there.
Which one of the following is the most serious consequence of regularly breathing in construction dust? Life-shortening illness. Collapsed lung. Having to take time off work. Getting asthma.
Now, reading this one, what's the most serious consequence of regular breathing in? Now, a few people trip up and say collapsed lung. It's actually life-shortening illness because you're going to get occupational lung cancer or asthma.
What should a worker do if they have been asked to build a mobile access tower, but they haven't had any training? Tell their supervisor that they have no training. Ask a workmate how to build the tower. Look for tutorials on the internet. Get on with the job and learn as they work.
Yeah, nice, simple, safe one. You're going to inform people you haven't been trained.
If the toilets on your site are dirty or do not flush, what should you do? Tell the person in charge of the site about the problem. Try to fix the faulty toilet yourself. See if you can use public toilets nearby. Try not to use the toilets while you are at work.
Okay, welfare facilities. You're going to inform the person who's in charge of the site to get it rectified.
If you need to wear a full body harness and have not used one before, what should you do? Ask for expert advice and training. Try to work it out for yourself. Ask someone wearing a harness to show you what to do. Read the manufacturer's instruction book.
Okay, again, it's a nice, easy, simple one. This you're going to ask for expert advice and training.
What is the main advantage of using battery-powered tools rather than electrical ones? They do not need to be tested or serviced. They will not give you hand-arm vibration. They are cheaper to run. They will not give you a serious electric shock.
Okay, so battery-powered tools rather than electric. So anything that's involving electric, you're maybe going to get an electrical shock. So it's not going to give you a serious electrical shock. Okay, that's the end of the 50 questions there, guys. So if you have a look there, 12 minutes spare, and I've really taken my time going through that, giving you some key points, which I hope you do find useful. So you've got plenty time. What I recommend, once you get into your 50th question, just click next. Then you're taken to this exact screen here. If you do miss any questions, it will come up as unanswered. And if you do flag any questions, they'll come up there. So once you're happy, you need to end your test 3 times. 1, 2. And once you click it for the 3rd time, then you are going to be given your results there and then. And there we go, look, happy days. As you can see there, I've passed. I got 50 out of 50, 100% scorings there. Them are the categories, guys, that you're going to get. Now remember, like in all the videos I talk about, there are approximately 711 questions on a CSCS test. You're going to get 50 of them. Of course, it's just random. You don't know what 50 you're going to get, but they are broken down into those categories. Them are the amount of questions you're going to get in your categories. And like I keep saying in other videos, the biggest category, health and welfare. Second biggest category, and arguably the most trickiest category, is working at heights. You're getting 6 questions. You're getting 7 questions out to health and welfare. You're going to get 5 questions out to dust and fumes, so on and so forth. So the more you can spend time looking at the different categories as well, looking through the other videos that I've gone through with other keywords, think about the jargon, and then you should be great for your test. Okay, I'll just continue there, review the test log, just as approved there, so they're all correct on there. Okay guys, thanks for your time. I hope you're getting a little bit out of it, and if you have any questions, drop me a line, feel free to ask any questions, and good luck for your CSCS test.